The final way to solve quadratics is going to be by using the quadratic formula. So the first thing that we're going to have to do is make sure that our equation is in standard form. Remember, standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. And we also need it to be set equal to 0. Okay, we would need to determine what a, b, and c equal, and then we were going to substitute those into the formula. Okay, so remember, when we are substituting, we are going to always substitute, we are always going to substitute things in inside parentheses. So remember, when you are substituting, you are going to put those inside parentheses. So this is the equation that we're going to use. It looks a little complicated, but all you're really doing is substituting in and then putting the information into your calculator. So the equation is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So it's very important whenever we're doing this that you simplify the b squared minus 4ac first. Okay, the first step is everything that is underneath the square root symbol. Okay, everything that is underneath the square root symbol, and then after you do that, you can go ahead and plug the second part into your calculator. All of our answers can be written multiple ways. Okay, it can be written as ordered pairs, or it can be written as the solution with the plus or minus. Okay, so let's do this first example first. You see how we have no number in front of this x squared? So that's going to tell us that our a value is a 1. Okay, so our a is going to be 1. Our b value here is 8. And our c value, you can see this is going to be negative 20. Okay, a is 1, b is 8. So here we have 1x squared plus 8x, okay, minus 20. This is the same thing as plus negative 20. So we have to make sure that we know this the same thing there. Okay, so here we have negative 8. The negative comes from the formula. It's always a negative b value. Plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 20. Again, we're always putting all of these in parentheses, and then all divided by 2 times 1. Okay, all divided by 2 times 1. So what we will do is we will go to our calculator and we will type in everything underneath the square root. Okay, remember I told you the first step is everything that is underneath this radical. Okay, 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 20. Right? So here we have 8 in parentheses squared on the outside minus 4 times 1 times negative 20. Okay, after we get that, we're going to go ahead and put that, we're going to take the square root of it. Okay, the square root of 144, and we get 12. Okay, so you come over here and we see this can be a plus 12 or a minus 12. So we have two potential answers. The first answer is going to be negative 8 plus 12 divided by 2. 2 times 1 is 2. The second answer, okay, is going to be negative 8 minus 12 divided by 2. Okay, when I did all of this stuff, I got 12, and this could be a plus 12 or a minus 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both in my calculator. Okay, in order to do a fraction, I'm going to hit Control Divide. I have negative 8 plus 12 divided by 2. And I can see that my first solution is 2. Now, if you arrow up and you press Enter after you highlight it in blue, you can just go back and change that to a minus, keeps you from having to retype the whole thing, and we get negative 10. So we have 2 and negative 10 as our two solutions, right? So our first solution is 2, comma 0. Our second solution, what was it, negative 10, comma 0. Now, remember, a solution is a root 0 x-intercept solution. So if we graphed this in our calculator, we would see these are the two places that these are touching the x-intercepts, okay? 2 and negative 10. That's the two places that it touches. Okay, let's do another one. You can see this one is not completely set equal to 0, so we're going to have to subtract 90 from both sides, and we can see 6p squared minus 12p minus 90, okay, equals 0. So now we have it in standard form, and also it is going to be here. You can see these have a GCF. All these can definitely divide by 2. It looks like they're also going to be able to divide by 3, so probably also 6, okay? But we don't have to worry about the GCF when we're doing the quadratic formula. So we can just label this A, B, and C. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. Okay, so when I come down here, I'm going to substitute all these values in, and I'm going to do it in parentheses. So this first negative comes from the formula. I also have a negative with my b value, so I have a negative 12. I keep both of them. Do not leave the second one off. One is from the formula, one is from our b value. It's completely fine for us to have both of them. Then we have our plus or minus. Then we're going to have our negative 12 in parentheses squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 90. Okay, here we'll go ahead and we'll put it 2 times 6. Okay, so we are going to put everything under the radical, under the square root sign in our calculator first. Okay, that's where we put everything first. Negative 12 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 90. So I'm going to come over here. Okay, negative 12 in parentheses squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 90. Remember, I'm substituting all of these in inside parentheses, okay? If you forget the parentheses and you go ahead and put this in without them, I'm going to show you it's going to give you the wrong answer, okay? I'm going to show you how it looks. Okay, you can see it gives you a different answer. This one is 2,304. This one is 2016. So it is very important that you put those parentheses. If you don't put them, your calculator will give you the wrong answer. And the reason is because it's only squaring the 12 if you don't put them and then putting the negative out in front. So this is giving you a negative 144 instead of the positive like it's supposed to be from negative 12 times negative 12. Okay. So we're going to take the square root and we're going to use that 2,304 because that's the correct answer. Okay, and it gives you 48. So remember, we have two potential answers here. Okay, two potential answers. Negative 12. Okay, you can even type that into your calculator. Negative parentheses negative 12 is going to give you a positive 12. Okay, so we end up with x equals positive 12 plus 48 divided by 2 times 6 is 12. Plus is one option. One option has plus. The other option is the minus. All I'm doing is I'm splitting these two apart. 12 minus 48 divided by 12. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do both of those in our calculator. We have 12, we got to do control divide. 12 plus 48 divided by 12 is going to give us 5, and remember I told you you can arrow up and you can highlight the problem in blue, press enter, and then all you have to do is change that to a minus sign, and that will give you your second answer, which is -3. So our two solutions are 5 and -3. Okay, this one is 5, 0. Sorry, my stylus is kind of dying. And this one is -3, 0. Okay, every now and again, you will see these answers written as just a simplified form. So sometimes they won't simplify the problem all the way. They'll just say x equals 12 plus or minus 48 divided by 12, and they'll leave it like that. Okay, every now and again, not often, but I just want you to be ready in case you do see this on a multiple choice answer. Kind of like how we had our two options, they might just give you that one option. Okay, we will do one more for practice. Okay, you can see here this minus 2k needs to go to the other side, so we will add 2k, add 2k. We're going to end up with 9k squared plus 2k plus 3 equals 0. Remember, you have to have your squared, your regular variable, and then your constant in order for it to be in standard form. That's important because this is going to end up being your A, your B, and your C. So even though it doesn't change the actual answer if you put it at the back, it's going to mess up your A, B, and C, right? So our formula is x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So when we go ahead and plug that in, remember we always substitute in parentheses. So we have negative times 2, okay, plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 9 times 3, all divided by 2 times 9. Okay, as you remember, we put everything underneath this radical first. Everything under the radical goes in our calculator first. So we have 2 squared minus 4 times 9 times 3. So we come back, 2 squared, forgot my parentheses, 2 squared minus 4 times 9 times c. You can see I don't even have to, forgot what the c value was. You don't even have to put multiplication signs. They automatically multiply the parentheses right next to each other. So we get -104. Now if you try to take the square root of a -104, it is going to tell you that you can't do that. You can't take the square root of a negative number. So let's just peek and see what would happen if we were to graph this. So it said that we had, remember, we're looking for the solution. So we're looking for the two places that it touches, 9x squared plus 2x and plus 3. Okay, you can see this parabola very clearly. Why would it be that we wouldn't be able to take the square root? Well, very clearly, this has no solutions. The reason it has no solutions is because it isn't going to touch at all. Okay, there's no place on this axis that this parabola is going to touch. So we can just come down here and we can write no solution. Okay, if that happens, we're going to have no solution. Okay. Also remember, every now and again, you might not be able to take the square root of this number. Not that it's not a negative number, but it might not be a perfect square. And in that case, we can just use the decimal. So remember to use your calculator and use the decimal.